Hi everybody, I'm Joe Cosentino from Millennial, Millionaire. This is my first video. I'm really excited to be with you guys today because I have a great book that I just finished up reading and I'm going to apply it in my life in investing. It's called 100 Baggers, Stocks That Return 100 to 1 and How to Find Them by Chris Mayer. Now a little bit of the background on this book is Chris Mayer actually found a book that was dedicated to 100 baggers written by Thomas Phelps before. And the whole goal for Chris Mayer, who just picked up where Phelps left off, was to find the common linkages between the stocks that became 100 baggers, try to find what they all had in common, and so it'll give you a couple principles as to how to find these stocks. So we'll just get right into it. First of all, we need to talk a little bit about the mentality of the 100 baggers. Chris Mayer is very fond of the saying in his book, buy right and sit tight. The idea is that you spend the time finding the good, valuable companies, the right stocks, you pick them, and then you just hold on for a long period of time. He suggests 10 years at least, and just continue on for growth reasons, moving on to getting to that 100 baggerdom. It's called the coffee can approach, which refers back to the Old West, where people would take all their valuables and put them in a coffee can and put them underneath a bed. And that just kept all your valuables safe, and they kept them there for a long time. Pretty much what people do is they will buy and sell stocks for a variety of reasons. Most people sell for the reason of maybe they're just bored. Frankly, they see people making money with all these trades. They want to get in on the action. Some people will sell their stocks out of fear. The whole point of the coffee can approach is that you can, in fact, buy right and sit tight, and that's why he institutes the coffee can method. Now, there are different criteria, multiple criteria, that we're going to go through. I have the top 3. There are more in this book that I would recommend you end up getting so you can find the rest, but I'm going to go over the top 3 that I found for you. So the first one is ROE of 20% annually. So what does ROE stand for? That stands for return on equity. Pretty much the idea is you take capital and you invest it into the business, and then what you make, that's your ROE. So let's say you started a company, you invested $1,000 into that company, and at the end of the year you had made $250 with that $1,000 you invested. That means 250 divided by 1,000, you had 25% for your ROE. So the goal is to get 20% annually, consistently, for a long period of time with this company. So the criteria with this is, how long does it have to have an ROE before I can think about buying it? Mayer suggests somewhere around 4 to 5 years of consistent positive ROE growth. And what I mean by positive is you don't want a company that gets this number with like leveraging and using bad debt in order to get there. You want something that has good profit margins, good sales numbers, things like that. That's important. So that's the idea of ROE. The next one is called, he calls it lower multiples preferred. And there's 2 different multiples that he's talking about in his book specifically. So the first one is earnings and price-earnings ratio. When these 2 start off small and can grow, these are like the twin engines is what he calls them, that's when you really have a good shot at getting a 100 bagger. So first we'll go over what are earnings. Earnings, quite simply, are like the profits a company has for a specific time. Companies will post them quarterly. We look at it as an annual thing, but the profits of a company is what we mean by earnings. So the second one is the PE ratio, and that's one of the most celebrated, viewed over ratios when it comes to investing. People love to study the PE ratio. But simply what it means is how much an investor is willing to pay for $1 of current earnings is pretty much what it is. So let's say you have a PE ratio in a company that's 20. That means investors are willing to pay $20 to get $1 of current earnings, is what that means, the PE ratio. Now, for PE ratios, for 100 baggers, the point is it's kind of a happy medium thing. You don't want to try to find something that's super high, that's like a 50 PE or something like that, because it's going to make it very difficult to reach the 100 bagger because it's going to have to grow so much, and it's already very high. But it's also another thing, if you have a company that solves real-world problems, is very successful and good in business, you're not going to find one with a PE ratio of 5 and go dumpster diving. It's going to be very difficult to find that. So you have to find something in that happy medium, but that's what the PE ratio stands. So You want something that starts off low, but then as the twin engines go, earnings and PE ratio, they'll move up together, and that's a very important factor for your 100 baggers. And now the final one that I want to talk to you about is it's called Owner-Operator Preferred. Mayer has a quote in his book, I don't remember exactly what it is, but the premise is that the CEO, the board of directors, whoever's running the company, they need to have an invested stake in this company. He suggests at least 10 to 20% should be with like your CEO, leadership management, things like that. Why would you want that, to have your leaders being invested alongside with you? Well, for one, it ensures that they're going to be working hard because their livelihood is invested with this as well. It's kind of one of those things that when you're buying a company, you're not only just buying that company, you're also buying talent, or the CEO, the leadership. So you want to make sure that you're backing talent with it as well. Good leaders, he spends a whole chapter talking about like the good leaders and what they understand and recognize as part of growing their company. And the best leaders, people like Warren Buffett and people like that, it's all about capital allocation. You're in essence handing over your money to be managed by these people, so you want them to be able to manage that capital in the right way. Another important thing that they understand is value per share. You might be growing your sales, but if the value of your shares aren't going up, that's not going to be very beneficial for you. And cash flows are very important as well for leadership. So these are like the three big ones. If you find this in a company, you have to do a little research on your own, but if you can find these three things, you're on your road to finding that 100 bagger. If you have the right mentality of buy right and sit tight and just watch it grow, growth is the most important factor of the entire thing for the book. If you get that, you're well on your way to finding a 100 bagger and turning a $10,000 investment into $1 million, which I think for any young investor or old investor, whatever your experience level, that's exciting. So I would thoroughly recommend this book. It's a good read. Mayer's a great author. He's got a lot of good insight. Like I said, there's a couple other things that you should know before trying to find these 100 baggers. So I will leave a link to the 100 baggers down below for Amazon, and I'd like to hear your input, what you want to hear next. We'd love to hear from you and try to do another video for you. So thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all luck trying to find your 100 bagger. Have a good day.